High School, and welcome to this scrimmage show. We're trying to learn more about our technology that we're changing into this year. And Coach, we're having a little bit of problem with it, but one of these days we're going to get it worked out. But we're glad that you're with us, and it's sponsored by O'Charlie's Restaurant at 1409 Riverstone Parkway. And they are so happy to be a part of the Cherokee High School football sponsorship this year, Coach. And welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. Well, Friday night, you guys had a scrimmage game and went over to South Forsyth. Had a lot of returning seniors, as you had mentioned to me before the broadcast. And you want to just share your thoughts about the ones that they had returning that we knew? I know the defensive end, LaFlame, is an unbelievably good player.
Yeah, they were a playoff team last year. You know, they were very similar to our team last year, in which we went into last year with several returning starters. That was the case for them this year as well. So I know they had a new quarterback, but obviously it didn't look like they've missed a beat. But they were a playoff team last year, and they had, I think Coach Arnett said, 17 or 18 starters returning. So they were a very seasoned ball club and played like it.
Mm-hmm. So you go into the scrimmage, and at 6:30 in the first quarter, quarterback Cal Morris hits a running back for an 8-yard touchdown pass. But before that, you guys had him third and long, I think that was, and then they got out of that for a first down and then eventually scored that 8-yard touchdown.
Yeah, we gave up defensively way too many third down conversions throughout the course of the first half. And, you know, we're extremely young and inexperienced football team. We start no seniors on defense right now. Got a chance to be pretty solid, but, you know, most of the guys that we've got playing on the field right now are JV, you know, former JV players, haven't played in a varsity game. So we made a lot of very uncharacteristic, you know, mental errors, as we like to refer to them as, blown assignments, you know, and it started.
Your picture's not on there anymore.
Okay.
Wow. Someone's got
I'm probably going to have to refigure it then. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's stop broadcast. Yes. Football team. They had a lot of seniors coming back, or with seniors this year from underclassmen last year, Coach.
Yeah, they did. They were a very seasoned ball club. I think Coach Arnett said they had 18 returning starters coming back, and you know, that was from a playoff team from last year as well. So very similar to our ball club last year. So they were well experienced and definitely played like it on Friday.
The Josh Shaw Football Show is brought to you by O'Charlie's Restaurant at 1409 Riverstone Parkway. And Coach, they're very proud to be sponsors of Cherokee High School football. Now, you got into the scrimmage game then at 6:30 in the first quarter. Quarterback Cal Morris hit the running back Ryan Pontrelli on an 8-yard touchdown pass. But before that, you had them third and long, and they got out of that.
Yeah, they ended up running a boot, and we had a blown assignment. Linebacker didn't pick up the fullback in the flat, and it resulted in about a 35-yard pass play on, I think it was 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. So that was a critical play there. In fact, we gave up way too many third downs throughout the course of the first half. You know, when our starting defense was in there, and you know, each one of the conversions led to a touchdown at the end of the day. So those are plays that we want to try to get off the field and give our offense an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about missed assignments, blown assignments, massive communication problems, and it's something you hadn't been having.
No, I mean, we're a very young defense. We have no seniors that start on defense currently. You know, so a lot of guys, very few that have played in a varsity football game before. And throughout the summer and even the last 2 weeks at camp, we ended up, you know, having blown assignments on Friday that we hadn't been making in practice. Even scrimmage, our intra-squad scrimmage that we had, you know, defensively, we hadn't been making the same mistakes. But everything defensively is based on fits for us, and everybody's responsible for a gap. And, you know, unfortunately, if one guy goes the wrong way, it kind of leaves another guy out to, you know, it leaves him out to dry. And so we had a lot of that on Friday night.
And I think that on their second touchdown, which came at 3:46 left to go in the first quarter. Ryan Pontrelli, their really good running back, pushed it over from 1 yard out. But before that, it was, I think, another long-distance play from quarterback Morris to Capers, which was probably 40 to 45 yards. You probably know the distance more than I do. And that actually set up that 1 yard run.
Yeah, they hit, Capers is a sophomore and is as pretty as they come for receivers. So he's going to be a heavily recruited athlete and still has 3 more years to go. So he was outstanding. We had a hard time matching up with him out on the corner. So he created a big play, scored on a slip screen, and had the other, I don't know how many yards he had, but he had quite a bit, well over 100.
But from the offensive side of the ball, Hampton Humphreys, like you were talking about before we came on the air, he was under duress most of the night, pressure on him, and he did the best he could, just trying to hit open receivers if they were open at all. Most of the time they were covered.
Yeah, defensively they were really good,
yeah.
And they were fast and they were physical. They pursued the ball, played a lot of man coverage, brought a lot of blitzes. And once again, we get into the inexperience, of our players just not having a lot of game experience, and they really took it to us. And we try to pull positives from our games, but the one thing that was disappointing was just how physically we got beat up front on both sides of the ball. And that a lot of that was attributed to how well they did. So. Hampton made some good decisions. We didn't have tremendous stats. We struggled, heavily offensively throughout the course of the night. So, but he did make good decisions and was looking to go places with the ball. He took some, big time shots too. He took a shot on a rollout pass or scramble, and a linebacker came up and planted him, and he came over the sideline, had blood running from his mouth and nose. So he took some shots, but you know what? He bounced right back up, and I'm excited at the direction he's headed in. We'll shore some things up this week. We're going to have some personnel changes this week, but I think just as the season progresses and our players gain game experience, we'll continue to get better.
Well, you know what? When Hampton went out of the game, he was limping, and I was afraid that he had really turned his ankle or tweaked it really bad or something else. But it was so refreshing to see him come back into a game and be tough and play like that.
Yeah, it shows the toughness that he plays with. He's a tough kid. Like I said, he took the one shot I was speaking about particularly that he got hit by the linebacker was one of the most vicious hits I've seen on a quarterback in a long time. I mean, he threw away the ball and got absolutely decleated right under the chin. So, but he bounced back up from that, like I said, and he did come back. He did tweak his ankle a little bit late in the game there, and or late in the half, and ended up coming back in and going another series. So before we pulled him, for the second half. So he'll be good for Friday, but he is a little, he was ginger on it over the weekend.
So you'll take it easy on him this week. Obviously, don't have your quarterbacks being hit during practice, but anyway, he'll have probably see Coach Didge a little bit, right?
Oh yes, he spent he went to physical therapy this morning.
Yeah.
We had him in our game ready machine throughout the weekend, which is as good as it gets. I mean, that's a top notch rehabilitation with compression and ice machine, and he took that home with him and used it throughout the weekend. So he's getting around. He seemed to be getting around quite a bit better this morning, and he'll be good to go for Friday.
You're watching the Josh Shaw Football Show here. It's sponsored to you by Charlie's at 1409 Riverstone Parkway. And Coach, you alluded just to the fact that, you didn't have a lot of highlights on Friday night. But you know what? That's the reason why you have scrimmage games. That's
Sure.
why you have spring games. So you can go ahead and work the upcoming season or the upcoming week getting ready for the next Friday. And I'm sure that you and your coaching staff this weekend, I'm sure you guys have got a list. Can you share some of the lists with us that you're...
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we want to eliminate the mental errors that we made. We'll get a chance here in another hour and a half. As soon as school's done, we'll go back and watch the film with our players and try to correct mistakes, through film, and then go out and start working on install for, our install period for North Cobb. But, we just have to we're a very young football team, and when I say young, I use this as an example. I asked our players after the game, we have 99 varsity players, and I asked them to raise their hand if they had ever played in a varsity game beyond special teams, and there were 5 players that raised their hand.
Wow.
So that just tells you, the inexperience. We've got some talent, and I think we've got a chance to be, really solid and kind of see what direction the season takes with us. But that just tells you, and the only way those kids get better in those scenarios is for them to play in games. And really the fortunate thing for us this season with our inexperience is the fact that we have 5, you play 5 non-region games, so you got to have things figured out hopefully by game 6. And so our first 5 games, we're going to be moving guys around, from week to week and trying to still find the pieces to the puzzle and find the kids that by game 6 are ready to go once the region schedule hits. So, it's going to be trial and error here for the first few weeks.
And you just hit on it. I mean, the team that's going to play Friday night, they're not going to be the same team that played last Friday night. And what you and your coaching staff and your players are trying to get accomplished every week, you're going to make progress. And as you said, when you get ready for the region schedule, then the kids are going to be ready for it.
Yeah, and really it was kind of our, our MO last year as well. We had played North Paulding. It was probably our worst performance of the season to that point. We were 2-3. Then we go down and play Etowah 3rd place, and we kind of go on a 4-game winning streak in region. And then lost a close one to Roswell to finish out the season before the playoffs start. But we had, we kind of got in a groove. We made some changes as coaches. We changed up practices after the first 5 games, our tempo, the physicality of them. But then we also installed some new things too and utilized some players in some different capacities, Jack Carroll, that type of deal. So, we're still trying to do the same thing with this team. And unfortunately, a spring game and even through the summer, you don't have the luxury of getting in game situations. And the only way our players are going to learn how to perform in those game situations is by playing games.
Right.
And, I don't want to say unfortunately, but South Forsyth the other night was really good. They're going to be a playoff team this year.
Definitely.
North Cobb this week is going to be really good. And they'll be if they're not a top 10 team right now, they will be. I mean, they have, I think they're better than they were last year. So, but after these 2 games, we get schedule-wise, get back to, teams that we'll be able to be competitive with, hopefully, but just try to stay healthy and move forward and gear everything towards the region games.
Mm-hmm. You're watching the Josh Shaw Football Show, and it's sponsored by O'Charlie's at 1409 Riverstone Parkway, and you're watching SteveMajorSports.com/live. Coach, one thing I want to talk about on Friday night, I saw Demon go back in punt formation. I was totally shocked. I was very impressed with his punting. He did a really good job.
He did. Kerwin Majano is our first team punter, but Kerwin got hurt earlier in practice last week and didn't play Friday, so Dima stepped in there. And he did do a great job. I mean, he had a couple that he hit 45 plus.
Little spirals.
He did.
Yeah.
The thing is with Dima, and we were joking about it, he comes down and eats lunch with me during the day, and just a little while ago he came down and we were joking about it, and he said, this week there's going to be a rush coming at him. So that usually changes things quite a bit when you're back there doing that. But he filled in very well, and just knowing that he has the ability to do that certainly helps.
Yeah. Well, we certainly hope that we're going to get Dima on the broadcast here pretty soon. He's got a great story, and maybe we can share that with you.
Definitely. He's a unique individual. Most people don't know, too. He's one of the funniest kids I've ever met.
Right. I've had a chance to meet him last spring, and we had a picture taken. It went out on the Twitter, and outstanding young man. Okay, Coach, so now you're getting ready for North Cobb. You already alluded they're going to be a playoff team probably. Got a lot of skilled players. I remember some of the players we were just talking before the broadcast that I called last year. And so Coach Queen and them are coming over for the first regular season game.
Yeah, they played East Paulding in their scrimmage last week and really played well. But they have some really good football players. They got Thurman Gathers, who's the major Division I defensive end that they've had. It seems like he's been there for 100 years. And he really is the anchor defensively. Offensively, everything revolves around their running back, Christian Singleton. And he's only a junior, but he is a really good football player. They got a new starting quarterback with Dylan Way. After I think their starter last year, Lovett, who played really well and was a good quarterback for them, went off to Troy. But Dylan did a real good job in their scrimmage last week, and they just have a lot of playmakers. I mean, there's not a lot of not a lot of weaknesses when you look at them on film. So, and you definitely want to try to contain them and keep them in. I thought when I got their scrimmage game, the first thing I noticed about them is defensively they pursue to the ball and they're violent when they get there. So they run a 3-4 defense and they cause a lot of, they cause a big ruckus when the ball snaps. So
I guess the one good thing about your offense facing a 3-4 defense, they face it every day in practice.
Yeah, they've had a lot of experience
yeah.
with it throughout the spring and the summer, and it seems like a lot more. You're getting to see the 3-4 starting to become kind of the common theme now with all the spread offenses. So that's almost they're almost getting to see that a considerable amount even at the camps we go to. So, but yeah, they've done well against us. Throughout the last 2 weeks of fall camp and any competition periods we've had. So hopefully that carries over and we play better than we did this past Friday.
Now, do they do anything different out of the 3-4 defense than what you're used to seeing? Is it pretty much straight 3-4?
No, I mean they're a little bit. I mean they're a lot like us. I mean you're going to get the 3 down linemen. They're going to walk up their 2 outside backers, and those are grown men. Out there, and then they've got Singleton plays an inside backer, which is their running back. They have a lot of crossover guys, a lot of guys that play on both sides of the ball. So, and when you got great athletes like that, you can do that, and those guys can play on both sides of the ball. So, I mean, it's not hopefully we're going to know where they're at and what they're doing. It's just a matter of whether or not we can execute, and we can block them.
Right. Okay. Well, you've been watching the Josh Shaw Football Show here at the Field House at Cherokee High School. And before we conclude this broadcast, I want to let you know that this evening at 5:55, I will be calling the Lady Warriors softball against Kell. And also have them on Wednesday here and at Sequoia, and Thursday here against Etowah. But Friday night, we want you to get over here to Tommy Baker Field and support these Warriors as they get ready to play North Cobb. We expect a big crowd. If you can't get there, please let everybody know that you can watch it on SteveMajorSports.com/live. We have a new camera. And by the way, folks, I apologize for the technical problems we've been having. We're changing over to YouTube, and we're still trying to figure a lot of things out. And then with the new camera, yeah, we're still trying to figure that thing out too. But when it's working good, I think you're going to enjoy watching the game. You can get your Apple TV, watch it on the big screen, and but we want you to come to the game first. Right, Coach?
Absolutely. Unless you're out of town, then watch it on Steve Major Sports.
And you also can listen to it and watch it going through an airport if you want to. But anyway, we want to thank you for watching the Josh Shaw Football Show. Hope you have a good afternoon and a good evening, and I'll see you at Tommy Baker Field on Friday night. Good afternoon.